Picture this. It's Saturday, July 14th, 1984, and millions of people are glued to their TVs for their favorite wrestling show. They were expecting the bloody, intense action of Georgia Championship Wrestling. Instead, they got the smiling face of this guy, Vince McMahon. What happened next wasn't just a TV show, it was an invasion. It was a hostile takeover happening live on television, and it went down in history as Black Saturday. Fans were literally watching their favorite wrestling company get destroyed in real time. What they didn't know, what no one could have possibly known, was that this corporate demolition was also creating something legendary by accident. This is the insane story of how one company built the foundation for the greatest team in wrestling history, and how a disastrous business deal destroyed their empire, but in doing so, gifted that immortal legacy to their biggest rival. This is how Georgia Championship Wrestling built the Four Horsemen, and then lost everything. To understand just how huge this loss was, you have to know what Georgia Championship Wrestling, or GCW, actually was. Back then, wrestling was split into a bunch of different territories, but GCW had something none of them did: a national audience. When Ted Turner's local Atlanta station went national in 1976, it took GCW with it, beaming it to millions of homes across America. Every Saturday night, GCW was the flagship wrestling show in the entire country. It wasn't just a local show anymore. It was an institution and a ratings monster for Turner's network. This crazy exposure made Georgia a magnet for the biggest stars in wrestling. All the top champions and toughest brawlers wanted to be on this massive stage. The creative genius behind this empire was a man named Ole Anderson. As a wrestler, he was a legend, but as the head booker, he shaped the entire company. Ole's philosophy was simple: make it look real. He hated the silly, cartoonish stuff and believed wrestling should feel like a legitimate fight. He made the style super physical and intense. But more than anything, Ole Anderson perfected the idea of a villain faction. His whole strategy was built on the numbers game, a gang of bad guys working together to destroy the heroes and keep the title on their champion. The Andersons didn't just beat you, they took you apart. And this brutal, realistic style was being broadcast to the entire country, setting the stage for a revolution. Because GCW was on TV everywhere, it became a proving ground for future megastars. While big names came and went, they were secretly assembling a dynasty. The biggest of them all was a charismatic, bleach-blonde superstar named Ric Flair. While Flair was technically based in another territory, GCW's national TV show is what introduced his legendary Nature Boy character to America and made him a household name. And the Anderson family legacy was only getting bigger. Ole was the grizzled veteran, the mastermind. Then he brought in his younger nephew, Arn Anderson. It was in Georgia where Arn perfected his persona as the Enforcer. He wasn't just a tag partner, he was the cold, calculating general who would do whatever it took to make sure the champion, usually Ric Flair, walked out with the win. The system also brought in other top-tier talent. Tully Blanchard, a cocky and skilled villain, had a style that fit in perfectly with Flair and the Andersons. This group of guys wasn't an official team yet, but their chemistry was insane. Flair, Ole, Arn, and Tully were all being shaped by the same philosophy: be the best, be the toughest, and win at all costs. All the ingredients for the ultimate team were right there. They just needed one little push to bring them together. By 1984, even though the show was a massive success, behind the scenes it was a complete disaster. The owners were fighting, and a few of them, the wrestling brothers Jack and Jerry Briscoe, were furious they weren't making crazy money from their hit TV show. At the exact same time, this guy Vince McMahon was trying to take over the entire wrestling world with his company, the WWF. He saw GCW's TV spot as the ultimate prize. If he owned it, he'd get a massive audience in the South and cripple his competition in one move. The Briscoe brothers, seeing the writing on the wall, decided to make a secret deal. They sold their part of Georgia Championship Wrestling, including the TV show, to their biggest rival, Vince McMahon, for a reported $900,000. They saw it as cashing out before Vince crushed them anyway. Ole Anderson, who still owned part of the company, was completely blindsided and tried to stop it, but it was too late. The deal was done. They literally sold their empire to the one guy trying to destroy them. This is insane. And on July 14th, 1984, everything went completely wrong. This is Black Saturday. At 6:05 p.m., instead of the show everyone loved, Vince McMahon appeared on screen and welcomed the audience to his version of the show. He kept the name, but the soul was gone. Instead of new matches from Atlanta, McMahon just showed old, pre-taped WWF matches from the Northeast. The style was totally different, and it was a disaster. The fans freaked out. They hated it. Southern fans loved their intense athletic style and were disgusted by the WWF's cartoonish show. The TV station's phone lines were flooded with thousands of angry complaints. Fans didn't just dislike it, they felt betrayed. The ratings completely tanked. The show went from a massive hit to a total failure overnight. In response, a furious Ted Turner gave airtime to other wrestling companies, including one started by the holdout, Ole Anderson. Both of those shows presented the traditional style fans wanted, and easily got better ratings than McMahon's show. Vince had made a huge mistake. He bought the TV show, but didn't understand the fans. He thought he could just plug his own product in and everyone would watch. Instead, he was now losing a ton of money on the deal. After months of terrible ratings, Vince McMahon gave up. His grand Southern invasion was a massive failure. But for Georgia Championship Wrestling, it was game over. The company was finished. So GCW is dead, and the WWF is retreating. The entire wrestling world was in chaos. All this incredible talent had nowhere to go. But one guy saw the opportunity of a lifetime, Jim Crockett Jr. His promotion was already friendly with Georgia and shared a lot of the same wrestlers. Pressured by Ted Turner to get the WWF off his network, Vince McMahon sold the Saturday night TV show he had just bought, and the buyer was Jim Crockett, who paid him $1 million for it in early 1985. Crockett didn't just get a TV show, he became the new home for an entire wrestling philosophy. One by one, all the top stars from the old Georgia territory, Ric Flair, Ole and Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, came over to Crockett's promotion. It was a mass exodus. Crockett Promotions didn't just get GCW's TV platform, it got all its best wrestlers and its creative genius. And on their new TV show, all the pieces finally came together. It was unbelievable. You had Ric Flair as the world champion, the absolute top guy. You had Ole and Arn Anderson destroying the tag team division. And you had Tully Blanchard as another arrogant, dominant champion. They were all champions and they were unstoppable. They started helping each other in matches and backing each other up in interviews. That brutal, win-at-all-costs style that Ole Anderson created in Georgia, it was back, and it was more dominant than ever, every single Saturday on TBS. Then, one night in late 1985, Arn Anderson was doing an interview and said something completely unscripted that changed wrestling forever. He growled that the chaos he, Ole, Flair, and Tully were causing was like the Four Horsemen of the apocalypse. The announcer, hearing this, told him, "I think you just named yourself." The name was so cool, it just stuck. And just like that, the Four Horsemen were born. It was the perfect name. 4 elite wrestlers bringing Judgment Day to anyone who challenged them. Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Ole Anderson, and Tully Blanchard, with their manager J.J. Dillon, were the original lineup. This was the ultimate super team that Georgia Championship Wrestling built, now finally complete, on the very same TV show that GCW used to own. You can't make this stuff up. The story of the Horsemen's origin is absolutely wild. What's another wrestling story that's crazier than people think? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more insane stories like this, smash that subscribe button so you don't miss the next video. So, the story of Georgia Championship Wrestling is just crazy ironic. It was a company that pioneered wrestling on national TV and built some of the best talent in the world. It assembled the wrestlers and created the philosophy for wrestling's greatest ever team. But think about it. The one business deal that killed the company is the only reason its greatest creation, the Four Horsemen, even exists. The sale to McMahon was a total catastrophe that destroyed a wrestling empire. But by destroying GCW, it forced all of that talent and creativity to move somewhere else, saving it from the wreckage. It's one of the biggest what-ifs in wrestling history. If Black Saturday never happened, the Four Horsemen as we know them might never have formed. It's insane. Georgia Championship Wrestling literally had to die for the Four Horsemen to live. The promotion lost everything, but its soul lived on. That soul, created in Atlanta, would go on to define greatness for years, all under the banner of their rival. This whole story proves that sometimes you can build the greatest legacies from the ruins of a total disaster.